Hey, folks, thanks for tuning into this episode of Real Talk Fishing with No Limits. Heading over to Minnesota, I believe we're in Minnesota, to Mr. Will Pappenfus, the silent walleye assassin that many of you may not know because the dude just silently just kind of beats a lot of people. So we'll break that down and get into Will's head a little bit on how and kind of why he's just a sneaky little devil. So what's going on over there, Will?
Not much. Just got off of work from the old bait shop and just got home. So just got on the recliner.
Time to kick it. So big 4th of July just got through that weekend. Looked like you went out and put the little hammer down on a few big girls out there, huh?
Yeah, we finally got some warm and calm weather for once, and the water temps at 70, and they decided they wanted to eat finally. So they've been kind of stagnant here for a while and kind of hit and miss. So they finally snapped out of it and chewed a little bit. So
yeah, the weather hasn't been stable, I guess, right? To kind of keep it warm. It gets warm and it cools off, and or it's blowing windy like hell, or a lot of rain and dirtying things up.
Yeah, it's either raining or it's blowing, or it's both. So.
Or it's both. Yeah, I mean, we've gotten plenty of water over the last few weeks. I think we're good to go. And this looks like summer's finally setting in this week. I think we're in the mid 80s, maybe hitting 90s or 100 coming this upcoming weekend. And like we should in July, and water temps are, just got done guiding today, and it was 71 to 75 on the Missouri River.
A little bit about some high performance products that I use, and I'm pretty sure you're going to love it too. It's the Seaguar Smackdown braid. There's 3 things about this thin diameter braid that I just absolutely love. 1, it's tough as nails. 2, longest casting, smoothest braid I've ever used. The 8-strand braid, tubular form, just comes off those reels super smooth, long cast. It doesn't make a lot of noise. It's awesome. And 3, it's super sensitive. No matter what kind of lure or jig I'm throwing out there, I can tell. I've grass, weeds, rocks, sand bottom. I can feel it all right through there into my rod. The stuff is extremely sensitive. So Smackdown comes in 2 colors, high vis and stealth gray. Get yourself some of this stuff and you're gonna get yourself some more of these. Check them out at seaguar.com.
What lakes are you on, Mason? You're over in Bemidji?
Yeah, Bemidji, Cass, Leech, kind of all the smaller lakes are on there too. So, but mostly been doing Cass. So
Cass, I like Cass. That's the only one of those I've been to, and yeah, good lake. I like it. Got a lot of options in that. Is that Pike Bay where you go underneath the bridge?
Yep, south end of it, and then you can go into Kitchie, Big Rice, Little Rice, and Juja, Wolf. So it's kind of cool.
Then it never ends. I mean, you're in Minnesota. You don't like that lake, you drive a few miles, you go to another one, right?
Yep, pretty much.
It's like northern South Dakota, but a little bit bigger bodies of water.
Yep.
All right, Will, for those people that don't know you, give them a little background, kind of where you're from, what do you do when you're not fishing, what got you into the tournament side of things, and just kind of bring us up to speed.
Yeah, from Bemidji, or I should say, I live in just west of Bemidji now. I grew up down in Buckman Piers area, kind of by Little Falls, Royalton. If you don't know where that is, like a half hour, 40 minutes north of St. Cloud. I graduated from Piers High School 2014, came up to Bemidji, and graduated from BSU with a 4-year degree in business administration and marketing. From there, I graduated at the end of 2018. Moved to Grand Rapids and worked at Thousand Lakes for a year. And then I got an opportunity to move back to Bemidji at the end of 2019 for Northwoods Bait and Tackle, and I've been there ever since. So I did work in the summer on Leech Lake at Spirit of North Resort in the south end for 6 summers from high school until I was done with college. So I got to fish Leech pretty much every day in the summer around there. And then I fished Bemidji lakes around there, here and there, and Cass, and some other small lakes, and kind of got familiar with the area ever since we could drive. So kind of been up and down.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just been around fishing and working in a freaking bait shop, man. I mean, you get to just live this stuff every day, all day, and get to talk fishing.
Yeah, if I'm not fishing, I'm fishing or working.
Right.
Well, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah, as a guy, when I'm not fishing, I'm fishing, right? It's
Yep.
just, we don't get a fun fish necessarily a whole lot. So when you do, it's a good time. But I mean, you're talking fishing, you got the marketing aspect of it. So that helps you out. Obviously a ton on the professional angling career, I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
From North lithium guy to North lithium guy, we'll talk about that a little bit. Break down some battery usage. I was gonna read that press release that came out today. I saw it briefly, but I know there's some new stuff about to drop to ICAST, and that's good. So I'm looking forward to it. So I've been kind of waiting to sign on with them and some others and for what's coming, and it's coming. So we'll just talk about some of that lithium stuff now. You've been with North for a little while. You're running all lithium, live scope guy. What are you running up there?
Well, right now I've just got I've got 100 amp hour 12 volt that I put in to run my 16 or my Garmin 8616 and live scope. My new boat I still don't have yet, which is going to be all rigged up with North Quinn, or I'll have 3 in the back for a trolling motor, so I'll have 300 amp hour battery. So hopefully I don't run out of juice. I should be able to run for days off of that.
It should be good. I got the same thing. That's all I got right now. But now with the release of what I got coming is what I've been waiting for, some trolling motor batteries. So when those start coming, we're gonna get this thing all geared up. I think I'm gonna add another 12 volt 100 amp because I have everything hooked to it. 360 live scope, 4-5 graphs, all on that. So you got to really manage it throughout the day and put them on standby if you're not using them. But man, it makes that Garmin good. It's hard to compare.
Yeah, I've been rocking my dad's boat still. And I've had some graph issues and some other random just issues, after using the boat forever. So I've been borrowing boats and borrowing graphs and borrowing parts and stuff all year just to stay on the water. So hopefully this new boat comes in this week and I'll be set to rip that around finally. So
be ready for Lake Sakakawea coming up here soon. And you're sitting in 4th for Angler of the Year points. So I imagine you're looking forward to that one.
Yeah. A couple guys are going to have to slip up if I have a chance, but, anything can happen. So, I mean, just going to.
Yeah. Just had Eric on and had Hunter on a while ago right after Erie. And it's going to be tough to catch those two. They got a little bit of gap. And if you talk about a couple of guys that probably aren't going to slip up.
Yeah, especially on that lake. So, but
yeah, it's a good fishery. You're gonna catch a lot of fish. It hasn't been scoped a lot. I don't see it. I mean, obviously, those in that recent AIM tournament that showed a little bit of what can be done, but a lot of locals up there kind of been doing it silently. But we haven't been there in WT since the scoping kind of became a thing. So I think we're gonna really see what that place has to produce. There's a lot of big fish. We can only keep 5, so you don't have anything to play with. So it's obviously a little different than an AIM circuit, but I can't wait. That's my favorite fishery. So if you've never been there, you're going to love it.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I've wanted to fish there in Green Bay for the longest time, and finally this year they both were on the same schedule, so I get to go to both. So
back to back, and Green Bay was such a blast. This will feel like this will be so much nicer.
Yeah, it'll be nice to get a few more than 0 to 1 bite a day. So
yeah, exactly. That you did all right. Yeah, everybody we just got through it. Is kind of how Green Bay went, and a lot of people moved up and some dropped way out. It was just a real tricky deal, and just that's the way it goes. That's fishing, man. That's what makes tournaments, and I kind of like a tough bite sometimes. I do you just got to make better choices, obviously, at times, and Sakakawea necessarily isn't always a tough bite, but it's just starting to go. The water temp's only like 60 up there, but we should be hitting it right when it really, really fires. It should have already but it's just kind of they've had some up and down weather early spring, and it got real warm, and then it just kind of up and down, up and down. Same thing, wind, rain, cold, 50-degree nights, 40-degree nights even. I think they just, according to Matt Liebel up there, they just switched over to crawlers like a week ago finally. I'm like, I haven't touched a minnow since May. I don't, but here it is. We're in July. So, but I'll be dipping your hand in the minnow bucket up there. They love them crick chubs and other things like that. But scoping will be on it. What's Will been doing? What's your tournament? What got you into the tournament side of things? I know you just fished the Graha, I believe. I think you do that one. You've done that a couple times, maybe. And have you done some of the AIM tournaments?
Yep, I have. I'm doing one on Leech on Sunday, and then I'll be fishing with Hunter Nitty and I are gonna fish the AIM championship because his uncle is gonna be gone. So.
Oh crap! There's a boatload right there. You two. He's your cousin, right? You guys cousins? Is that right?
No, but
No.
I call his dad my uncle all the time. So.
Okay, I thought someone said you were cousins, and I was like, okay, I believe it. So
Yeah, it looks like it. It could be.
right, you're like family.
Yeah.
So you do the AIM championship. Where's that one at? Is that for the Minnesota region or whatever?
Yeah, that'll be Lake of the Woods.
Oh, Lake of the Woods.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. We
Is that in August?
Yeah, end of August. So
yeah, that's the best time to go.
yeah. Wednesday morning I'm heading up to pre-fish for the Minnesota tournament trail on Lake of the Woods. It's Thursday, Friday. And then the Woods tournament out of War Road is on Saturday. And then Hunter and I are ripping back down Saturday after the weigh-in to fish Leech Sunday. So it's going to be a busy.
Yeah, plenty of experience on Leech. So sometimes pre-fishing, when you have a lot of experience, just can mess you up anyway.
Yeah, we're just going in blind. I mean, I have a pretty good idea where they are, and saw some guys I know that fish kind of the same spots and caught some good ones. So they're doing the same thing they always do in July. So it's just going to be whether who gets them to bite or not. So.
Right now, and the two of you on your scopes up there, I think you'll figure out a way to get them to bite. I think you're going to be all right. So
somehow.
And if you can put less time into it like that, then it makes winning that much, or even doing well that much better because you save that much more money. But you could be coming back from Lake of the Woods, so maybe your arms will be a little sore, and those guys are probably hoping for that you're a little sluggish, and you're not seeing things on the scope properly. So
yeah, Hunter, he's like a jackrabbit, so I'll just make him run everything while I take a nap.
He's pretty energetic. You made the championship last year. Last year was your full first year on tour?
Yep,
made championship, doubles leg, did well. I think you were in top 10 on that, were you?
Yeah, I got third in that one.
Third,
so,
yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Beautiful. That's another phenomenal fishery.
Yeah, I love that lake so much.
Yeah. I know I saw you 1 or 2 days. You're over kind of you and I and Hoyer and some other guys are fishing the same little area, those old stock dams or whatever you want to call them. Mm-hmm. The spot always sold some fish. That was actually my small fish spot. That was like my second, third go-to, but I got my biggest fish out of there on day one. It was 25 inches. But it wasn't big enough for that tournament. So
yeah, there's some big ones that got caught. That's for sure.
Yeah. Those fish are so healthy there. And Sakakawea is kind of the same thing. Very healthy. Lake of the Woods, late August. Boom, those fish are tanks. I caught a 23 today that was kind of skinny up in the river. But for the most part, I mean, everywhere we go, it's Green Bay fish. I mean, these fish are they're thick. These fisheries are pretty healthy. There's a lot of talk about the live scope and damaging the resources. But I think, guys like you and me and Hunter and all of us, we're using it to catch fish. We're not keeping them.
Yeah,
I don't necessarily use it for guiding.
Yeah. The last time I caught or kept a fish, I think, for me to eat was Erie. I don't think guiding and other stuff, I've kept them, we've kept them for clients. They take theirs, but other than that, I have not kept a fish since Erie, I don't think.
It's a good place to keep one from. There's
there's
a few in there.
Yeah.
That is where people put their deep freeze in the back of their truck when they head to Erie in the spring, and they fill that sucker up. I don't even know if there is a possession limit up there. I think it's 6 a day or something. And that's it.
We were coming back, and I was on the highway, and I was just outside of Wisconsin, and there's three boats lined up together driving, and the truck in front of them had 2 mini chest freezers strapped in there with generator running.
Probably going to South Dakota because there's a lot of guys from South Dakota that go there, and that's exactly what they do.
Yeah,
they open groups and they take mini fridges and they fill them up. And the Walleye's Unlimited Club here does that, and that's how they have their big banquet feed. And,
nice.
It's a hell of a place to go get some fish for sure.
Yeah.
So you scoped on that one. You did good there. To sit in 4th for AOI, you obviously have got a few top 10s. I mean, you've had a good year. Obviously, Eric and Hunter have had a really good year and are neck and neck, but you're never out of it. Anything, I think, just fishing NWT alone is a challenge enough, but when you can be in the top 10, top 20, top 40 and making the championship is no small feat by all means. It's a pile of good sticks and a lot of competition.
Yeah, for sure. Just making the championship is always good enough for me, especially last year. I wanted to fish devils really bad because I never got to fish a tournament out there yet. I just got to fun fish it, so I was pumped for that. And hopefully we can just go out and have fun in Sakakawea too, and then make Huron for the championship too, because that's one place I haven't fished yet either on the big water. I fished Saginaw Bay ice fishing, but I haven't got to fish the big lake yet. So
yeah, I like Saginaw Bay, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't like the big lake, but
I'd rather
big
not.
fish.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the consensus most all around is I'd rather not, but I'm sure it holds some big fish, and there'll be some, I'd scope and troll or whatever. It'd most likely be scoped. King one going up that way years ago when we went out of Saginaw. Pretty cool area. I mean, UP's neat. I know my wife wants me to go because she wants to go there, but I can pretty much tell her I'm not going, no matter what. That's how much I want to go to Lake Huron. So, but you got to make top 40 and struggling to do that. So sometimes you just have a crappy year. But yeah, going to these big lakes for these championships, not a giant fan of that. It's only a 40 boat field. We went to Ottertail that first year doing it. And it was great. Since then, it's been Dunkirk, New York, Huron. It just
we could go to a lot of fun places with 40 boats.
Devil's Lake was good. Much smaller fishery, still big, plenty spread out. But yeah, there's a lot of places now with kind of the way everybody fishes, pretty much scoping, and one rod is really all you need anyway. So all the Minnesota lakes are really in play. Mm-hmm. And if we're just going to have the 1-man limit thing like we're doing this year, then why not? Those communities are there. They, obviously the money talks and the organization has to go with who's funding stuff, and they want to try new things, and you want to go to places that have big fish. But Cass Lake's got big fish. Leech Lake has big fish. Devil's Lake has big fish. Skakawee's got big fish.
Lake of the Woods has big fish.
Lake of the Woods has big fish. I would love to go. We had a championship there years ago, and you can only keep one over 28, but that's perfectly fine. And we got the slot, but that's a game. That's a challenge. Basically, It doesn't matter unless you're catching her over. I know we were there years ago. I think Max actually won that one. He's trolling right by. Everybody was basically trolling the basin, in August where those fish are all out there. I think I got 3 over 28 the second day, all the exact same, 28 and a quarter, 28 and a quarter, 20. Just cold out you just kept the newest one, so you didn't get a dead fish penalty. But then, trying to get those 19 and a half, I think is the slot there.
Yep.
All right. So getting those was a little trickier, but I'm like, none of those matter if I don't get one over 28 and a half, over 28. So, been up there, did a little ice fishing. There's just a lot of fish, Lake of the Woods, a ton. And August is just the best time to go, and all those fish are in that mud. And I was dropping like 200 foot of lead, and I could count to 10 once I stopped the line counter, and wham, boom, there would be a 25 plus incher on. Just literally, I think I fished that first day of practice by 10 a.m. I was like, okay, good to go. This is and that's exactly where it's won, and that's exactly how it was won. Like, that doesn't happen very often. Usually, like, I need another day. I need a couple more days, but it's like the whole rest of the team isn't even here yet. I texted him and said, pick up some of these cranks. Seem to be working pretty good. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is the spot that it's going to be won at. And yep, it was.
Yep.
Once in a while, it works out that way. So. Mm-hmm. So what got you into the tournament fishing? You've obviously been doing it for a while, and we touched on that. You've done these different circuits. How did you dip your toes into it?
Yeah. Growing up, my dad and I fished the Northern Pike Derby every August. And as a kid, you want summer to last forever, and you don't want August to come. But I always wanted August to come fast because we got to go fish that tournament. And fished it for the longest time, and then got really into walleye fishing, I would say. Once I started, I would say like teenage years, we started fishing walleyes more, and fishing like Mille Lacs all the time, which was only like a half hour away or so. Lake of the Woods in the winter and everything else. I just started loving walleyes and fishing walleyes. And I think the first one I fished was my sophomore year of college, which would have been, I think the spring of 16. Yeah, spring of spring of 2016, I think, was the first time, and fished down on pool 4 for the Freezer Butt tournament with my buddy Nick Sakella, and I think we got 4th, dumped into a random big one, and I ended up getting 4th place with it, and since then I've been hooked, and I want to fish as many as I can, whenever I can, and just started from there.
It's addicting once you're in, and a lot of guys have that story. Their first tournament they won, or they did real well, and it's like, oh, well, this is easy, but then they find out down the road that
It ain't so much.
not so much. And I was only going to dap into my savings, but that's all gone all of a sudden because I went on a roll of 4 or 5 tournaments where I didn't cash a check, or vice versa. So I'm just keep making it happen and sitting in 4th place at AOI. You've cashed a few checks, and checks are a little bit bigger nowadays, and on the NWT side. But the costs are also much more, right? And it's not getting any cheaper. I was talking to a couple other guys today, and several other guys today, about the economy and some other guides, and everybody's like, "Yeah, we're pretty slow right now. Things aren't good." I don't know how it is over at the bait shop. Are people buying, or are people fishing like crazy, or it is slowing down there too?
The last week and a half's been pretty steady. We've had a pretty good summer so far. I mean, we hadn't seen the big flux of I would say tourists as we usually do, but it's definitely starting to pick up pretty good now. So a lot of people are getting out and coming up and exploring the Northwoods and fishing and just buying random stuff, and so it's kind of been good. The last I would say the last month's been really good. So
Good. We need everybody to get out there, keep fishing, check it out, new bodies of water. Like I said, I've had, when I got off the water today, I was like, July's not looking good, but I think I had 4 emails and a couple of voicemails and booked, I think, 3 or 4 trips, in just the last couple hours for this month and next month. So I think a lot of people where I'm at, we had a little flood type stuff come through, and we're curious about that now, getting through a lot of the, come late July, some of the kids' baseball stuff starts to wrap up. So that's always a challenge for, the families in the summers trying to plan a little vacation getaway. And these kids got baseball like every day, every state. It's just go, go, go. I'm like, man, I'm kind of glad my kids didn't play baseball in the summer. I just wouldn't be able to go. It's tricky, but you start out on a pike derby, man. You don't hear a lot of that.
Yeah, pike derby and or pike derbies, little bass tournaments, and then college bass tournaments that we just fished for the around here and stuff in the fall and everything with that, and it just kind of all turned in from there. So everything but walleyes, and then ended up getting into walleye tournament fishing.
But it just makes you a better walleye fisherman, especially bass fishing.
Yeah, you do just about everything, so it just kind of changes the way you look on a situation or a spot or everything else, just to have a different view on things.
Pike get a bad rap. We caught one a day, and I'm like, I'll definitely clean that for you. So these things taste great. It wasn't huge, so it wasn't a monster fight. Plus, it was caught pulling lead core. But we've been getting a lot of 33 to 40 inches, one a day maybe here or there. I'm like, yeah, you want to eat it? I'm like, I'll clean them. These things are great, man. Pike are awesome, fun to catch. Everybody hates them. I get it. They're a mess and they break stuff and they're slimy but I'm like, watch out. So I get it in the boat and the net. That sucker's going right in the box as fast as possible. It's going to make a mess. So they are definitely a handful. But bass fishing, there's a lot of great bass fishing right there around.
Oh yeah, you catch a 5-pounder, that's a big one around here. I mean, I have seen some random 6-pounders, and a guy weighed a 7-pounder one time. I could not believe. Seeing a 7-pounder in real life was unreal. Like I could fit my whole hand. No problem. I was just like, it didn't even look real. Like
I used to bass fish a lot when I was in Nebraska. I caught a 9-pounder once off. Pretty much a bit of a pre-spawn or spawning bass. Sight fishing, and I'm like, yeah, that's a big fish. That's a big bass. That's a mouth like that big around. It's like, well, I've seen an 18-inch crappie, and it can stick a whole, a soda can in its mouth. So, yeah, a little different than the walleye world, but I think bass fishing can certainly, the way we're fishing for walleyes nowadays with the scope and stuff, it just makes you a better fisherman. Tournament fishing in general, the more tournaments you fish, the better angler. You just, whether you win or lose, you just become a better fisherman. That's what I pretty much tell people all the time that are interested in getting tournaments. I'm like, just try out the local club thing, the Tuesday nighter or whatever it may be. I'm like, you're don't even worry about, just go out and fish, and if you get on something, you get on something. But if you don't, just pay attention to everybody else, what they're doing. Talk to them at the end of the night or after the tournament, or just situation awareness, pay attention. Like, I think we drove by those guys today or whatever it was, and be like, they won. Well, what were they doing type stuff. And you'll just learn. I mean, you'll get your butt kicked a few times and be like, I should have did this, should have did that. And that's where you really learn, is the decision-making process of, okay, my gut says I need to do this. I just need to go do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
How's Will roll in, and how do you approach a new body of water coming into a tournament?
One of my strengths is finding fish and weeds. Weeds, and then just deeper basin areas off of weeds. That's what we kind of have around northern Minnesota, other Minnesota lakes. It's all weed based, or just off the weeds and random basin areas and stuff. Now that we can target them with forward facing sonar and stuff, so that's usually where I start. Is I find weeds, and then go from there and see if I can find, if the walleyes are relating to them. Usually, about 99% of the time, there's walleyes in the weeds everywhere we've gone. And like down on pool 4 or 3 and 4, Lake Pepin, I've never fished it down there this time of year. I mean, I fished the freezer butt off term in the spring all the time, which is March. So I've never got to actually fish the lake and everything like that. And there's a lot of, there's suckers, carp, everything you can think of under the sun in there. So it's kind of like, how do you approach that using forward-facing sonar to find them? So first I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go hit main lake points just like back home. Okay. Caught a couple doing that right away. I was like, okay, and then all of a sudden I went up shallow and I just saw cabbage as far as I could see. And a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, well, if this water's dirty and the water's coming out, these fish are going to slide up into these shallow weeds for sure. And I pulled in, and it was like, I don't know how many 19s I caught just randomly all over the lake. East side, west side, didn't matter. Caught them. Big fish everywhere. I was just like, and this was just the first day. I was just like, okay, so why don't I just do this for every body of water just to start? And that's right. And like Green Bay, I did the same thing. Found them right away, and I'm like, they bit too. And I was just like, what? See, I just need to keep doing this every time, and all sales go from there, kind of thing. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that was my approach to Green Bay. I just didn't get them to bite. I saw them. I found them. And when I went to where weeds normally were, and there wasn't any weeds. And I was like, what the hell? This thing should be just choked out with weeds by now. And I guess they said a lot of them didn't die in the winter. So now they were just kind of or they just now died or something like, I don't know what it was, but they said that's why there isn't weeds there in that Cottle Bay type. But there was some, but not near as much as there normally is. And I would roll out there and, throw some plastics over it or pull spinners over the top of them or whatever. But you're right. It's walleyes and weed season right now. It's like, it's on.
Yeah.
I pulled pretty much all our walleye today. I think we had 5 keepers with it, but they all came off weeds. Mm-hmm. My other guy was out. I said, you got to get as close as you can to the weeds. That's where they're at. Just drag that jig right down the face of them, and they're there. They're hanging out. And in the weeds, there was fish going nuts, splashing all over the surface, and they weren't carp. So I'm like, we got catfish or smallies or something are in there, and they're like in a foot of water. Weeds just hold bait, they hold oxygen. It's just weeds. And with the Garmin, so I asked Tom and Hoyer about this at Devils last year. I'm like, hey, we're fishing weeds. I'm like, I can just see the weeds. I didn't have a Garmin. I'm like, I like those stock dams. I'm like, I can see the weeds, so I know where I'm throwing, but I can't see fish in the weeds at all. I can just see weeds, as I'm throwing over there, and I kind of know the area. I fished it a lot, and they would fly up out of those weeds and hit that bait as it was dropping down. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh no, Tom Wynn says, I can see the fish in the weeds. I'm like, yeah, be kidding me. Well, I got a Garmin, and I can see the fish in the weeds. I'm like, well, this isn't fair. I'm like, wow, that would have, man, no wonder. I'm like, what a game changer that is to be able to be like, weed, oh, wait. Yep, that's not a weed. I mean, and you can see them pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
If obviously once they move, you're like, oh, yeah, there's weed. And you just like, I got to drop it right over the top, or in there about 4 or 5 feet and play it. And, they just fly out of there. And It's pretty fun. The whole forward-facing sonar game it's definitely fun, and it's changed the way everybody has fished. It's changed the way the tournaments are basically done. I kind of been telling guys all year, if you're not scoping, you're not going to be in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Period. And that's about how it's kind of set up. Erie was some trolling.
Yeah.
Red Wing was a little different, obviously a little trickier, like you said, because there's everything out there. I mean, what you kind of think you start to know what a walleye is, and then you get to a place like that or any of these rivers, you're like, but there's just 500 fish on the screen. I mean, yeah. And they're like, but there's walleye in there, and there's obviously a ton of sheephead and suckers and whatever else. I was able to pick out a few there to catch them, but most times it's like, I don't know, man, there's just a whole lot of fish over there. Just fish it. Just throw this, let it sit, and then start pitching that thing. And yeah, and that was fun. Caught a lot of fish. Love to get back on the Mississippi River anytime. Mississippi River, Missouri River. A place like Erie, it's a target-rich environment of walleye. So most things you're seeing, you're like, it's pretty good. Most of these are walleye. Skakawea, a lot of fish there, but a lot of walleye, which makes it a little easier. Green Bay, I don't know. I could kind of tell what the walleye were, but man, those sheephead were just thick.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter. They were coming out of nowhere, and you're like, damn it, there's another one.
Yep, every time.
Yeah, big. And I mean, I kind of thought you knew it when they hit, but when you hit like a 5-6 pound walleye, it smacked it and took off running too.
Mm-hmm.
So I got your sheephead, and then you're like, once you got turned and you kind of got a hold of it, you're like, no, might be the right kind. Then you get it halfway to the boat, you're like, yeah, I got one.
Yeah, I had a 27 3/4 on Green Bay that was like, it was over 9 pounds on my scale. I think it was like 9.2. And it was built all the way from the head, above the head, all the way to the tail. And it kind of looked like Shakurik's one.
I was going to say, like the one Jason got.
It was just like that one. And I saw it in the water after I hooked it. I'm like, it's a carp, Like, so I'm just like messing with it. And I'm just like, whatever, and it comes up and I look and I was like, oh my God, it has teeth. I grabbed it and I was like, what are you? Just looking at it. I was like, just built. It was crazy.
Yeah, those fish are solid. That's the one thing I like about Green Bay. I've said that 100 dozen times is those fish fight like no other walleye. I mean, you get the clean water. They're built. They're strong shoulders, and they just take off. But most walleye. I mean, people are like, walleye don't fight that hard. I'm like, I'm a shallow water guy, so shallow water fish usually tend to fight a little harder, a little more aggressive. But Green Bay fish, I don't care if you catch them 30 feet deep or 5 feet deep. They're aggressive, and they're tough. I mean, a lot of that is clear water. They see the boat. Told the guys in the boat, I'm like, don't even try to attempt to net it the first time you see it. Like,
because as soon as they see the boat and they act like they're going to come right in, and then they're just to the bottom.
Yep, and then it's like 2 or 3 more times of getting them close, and you're like, okay, I might be tired. I don't know. You better be quick because he's got to make another run. Yeah, they're fun. Lake Erie, in April, they're big fish, but they come in pretty easy. Skakawea's got some pretty aggressive walleyes as well, but Green Bay kind of stands alone, I think, in that sense. But I haven't fished leaks. I've been at Cass. I did MWC tournament there a long time ago. That was fun, though. I caught a lot of fish, got them jigging, wrapping, caught them rigging. Real picky on the crick chub there, boy. It's got to be that certain size red tail with a certain leader and certain color hook or no color or whatever. It's those fish are a little picky.
They can be day to day too.
Yeah, the jigging wrap. I really got a lot of confidence there in the jigging wrap bite though. I caught quite a few. It was fun. It was a fun tournament. And they still MWC goes out there about every year, don't they? Stony Point.
Yep. Every fall.
Every fall. Yeah, I think that's what we were there. It was in September. Yeah, seems to be a pretty good time.
Yeah, last year it took 20 pounds a day to win. So there's a lot of fish in there, and there's a lot of good fish starting to come up too. So
is there a slot there?
1 over 20. So you get
1 over 20.
Yeah, so you get 2 over cylinders. Yeah.
All right, which could be a couple 8-pounders, and then you got some fillers, some of those smaller filler fish. Awesome. So what we're getting ready to roll in Skakawea. We got a few weeks. You got your game plan in place. What do you expect out there? Are you traveling with anybody?
Yeah. Me, Hunter, Owen Wilcox, and then Max Wilson as well. All
Okay.
staying together. And then Cody Pixley usually does. I think he's going to fish this one. He didn't fish Green Bay, but he fished the first two.
Yep.
And then I'm not sure if JJ is going to do it or not yet. So we're waiting on him. But
yeah, I don't know what the numbers are going to be. I'm guessing they're going to be low. When your fourth stop and people that aren't in it in points aren't going to make the big, east to west journey.
I've heard a lot of random people that might just jump in for this one though, just because it's closer and it's a Kakawea and guys want to do it. So I'm curious to see what how many people do it.
Yeah, I don't know, 110 is my guess. I mean, the more the better. I hope it's way more than that. You need a pretty big turnout to get that average number back up.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the full payout for the championship. But you got a good team of sticks there. That's fun. Traveling with the team is the way to go. Everybody's got their little opinion on it, but really I look at it as the traveling with the team is the way to go. It just makes things so much more affordable, camaraderie, so much more fun. What you do on the water and sharing stuff is different for everybody and however they want to do that, if they split, winnings or not. But if you guys are doing that, then everybody in your team's making out all right. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we've done a lot of good things and had a lot of fun and figured a lot of stuff out pretty much everywhere we go. So at least everybody has their own strength and we kind of just play off that, and it's been working out. So
it's a good way to cover water, especially like Green Bay or Kakawea is a big body of water. You got a few extra guys, you can really spread out and break it down, because Kakawea, you're going to be able to catch them close and you're going to catch them far away.
Mm-hmm.
Not 90 miles far, but 50, 60 miles.
Yeah. That's better than 200-mile round trip. So anything's better than that.
Anything's better than that. You made that bay run up there.
Oh yeah, both days. I'm still sore, and it's been 3 weeks, 2 weeks. I don't even know.
Yeah, that's a rough one, and that's a different fishery. It's not where you went out of, but whatever. Great Lake tournaments appeared to be go wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
So whatever, it's open to everybody. Everybody can go there. So that's the fair thing is just whether if you want to or not, or choose to. So the weather wasn't permitting for it very well. Obviously, I think everybody looked at it like, no problem. We can make the run up north in Green Bay. We're supposed to have pretty calm. And then Thursday morning showed up, and it was like, ooh, this is not at all looking like fun.
No.
I looked at some other guys, and I saw them put their stuff away, and they grabbed different gear, and they're like, nope, not going. And then some others went a little ways and deviated, and some, you and Hunter, were like, nope, we're just going. Because I'm like, if you go and you get them, they're definitely the right fish. So
it's like I'm going for one. I was just like, I need to get one. And I'll be happy. It's like, if I have to go 200 miles to get it, I'm gonna go and just get one. And I went up there and got 2 the first day, missed one, and then the second day I got 1 30.5, lost one like about the same size right at the net. Right after that, I had to run back down. Then I filled the box by the axis or by takeoff both days. So I had one little filler spot I could go through and at least get some smaller ones to fill the box. So if I could at least get 1 or 2 good ones a day, at least I had something to fall back on. So.
Yep. Yeah, that I couldn't get those ones to go outside of there. I didn't give them much time either. But I'm like, they're always here. There's some good fish there sometimes as well. I think where you tried to fish it too and said, I just can't get these suckers to bite. I'm like, somebody will, or you just got to be there at the right time. So definitely an interesting tournament Green Bay was, and I am completely cool if we don't ever have to go through that again. So
yeah, anytime in June, it would be nice to not go.
Be nice to not go. We could have flipped these tournaments around.
Yeah, it would have been crazy. We'd had a lot of fun, I think.
Yeah, and everybody at Kakawea may not have been the greatest of June, but it would have been better in Green Bay, and it still probably would have had 90% limits brought in. We'll see. I'm pretty interested to see how this goes there. I'm fishing 3 tournaments up there, the one weekend before, and then the Casino Cup the day after ours. It's because I love Kakawea. So, miles will go, and there's some boundaries on those. Obviously, we don't have a boundary, but we'll be fishing within both of those type of areas. I'm still trying to find lodging it hasn't worked out, so we don't have any lodging yet. And there's not a lot of options up there. So if you're listening and you got a place in Lake Skakawea, give me a buzz. I think I just got a text message from a guy that might have a place up there. So hopefully he does. Because I got stuff on the other end of the lake, but on the Garrison side, not so much. And there's not a lot of Airbnbs. There's a couple hotels, which aren't the cheapest, really. We stayed in those one other time, but I don't know. We'll figure it out. I mean, whatever. Slap a topper on a truck and make it work if you have to, or pitch a tent. I'm not too concerned. I'd pull my camper if I was one of those guys who pull the camper and boat, but I don't trust my boat trailer as it is. I don't know if I trust my truck at this point, so I'm not doing that.
The Grand Rapids Walleye shootout we did, I slept in my truck the first night, and then we got another cabin the second night that was open, so then I didn't have to sleep in the truck. But one night I did sleep in the truck, but it was worth it. So
the stuff we do, right? It's just we're knuckleheads. You know, I've done a plenty guide where I'm like, I didn't get a hotel room, but whatever. I'll guide all day, go fish, get to the campsite. I'm like, I don't even want to set up tent. I'll just crash in the truck, get up, boom. You know, like I just need a couple hours. And it really just needed a place to plug the boat in, charge it. I'm good. So, you know, if we could fish all night, we probably would at times. I know I have as a younger guy for certain. So, oh, man, that's a lot of stuff. You got me all fired up to go to Lake Skakawea. Cannot wait. You got your team, you got a game plan going in there, or you guys are just going to spread out and conquer and try to scope all? There's more shoreline than there is the coast of California, so I'm going to be ready.
Yeah. I mean, we have a pretty good idea, I think. Hunter was there for the aim.
That's right.
Yeah. Max has fished there a few times. Owen, I think's fished there. Cody's fished there quite a bit. So I think we'll be all right. We're just going to go play around, and I don't know, we got a few days to figure it out, and looking for 5. So
yeah, Cody probably goes there a fair amount. There's a lot of Montana guys go over there.
Yeah.
So even though they obviously have Fort Peck, but if you're from like even Bozeman isn't but 2 or 3 hours to the western end of the lake. So I fished the Big Ten up there in October, and it has even the Governor's Cup. It usually gets like a half dozen to 5 to 10 Montana teams in it. So they love coming over there. It's a great lake. It's a good fishery. So it'll be fun. Look forward to seeing you there. If you got one little nugget to leave these listeners with, help them become a better angler, better tournament angler, better whatever it is, what do you got?
I would say, honestly, is just I should say just keep your head in it. That's the biggest thing. Is don't let your mind tell you can't do something, or if you have a bad tournament, don't get down. Just keep your head in it. Keep grinding. Learn from your mistakes. Learn from other people. Scarlett told me one time a long time ago, he's like, even if you do bad, go to the weigh-ins. Listen to how the people who did good. A lot of times they might slip up and say something, or you might learn something from someone in the crowd just standing there. But go to the weigh-ins, listen to people, learn from your mistakes, keep grinding, and it'll happen.
Yep, very true. It is more of a mental game than I think people think, because you can take yourself out of it real quick.
Yeah, 100%.
I always tell them, a fish's brain is the size of your fingernail. Yours is a little bit bigger. Mm-hmm. So don't let him give the upper hand. And once tell it to Drake on these podcasts when we're picking our fantasy stuff. I'm like, Drake, you got to pick yourself. Confidence is key. Like if you don't go into it thinking I'm going to dominate or I'm going to win or whatever. I mean, there's the reality on day 2 versus day 1, right? Mm-hmm. We're all playing to win. We're all going in that. So, but you got to think that even if your pre-fish kind of suck, right?
Yep.
Because if you don't, you've already just given the upper hand to the fish. You might as well just pack up and head home.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's real easy to get down, especially if you're in an area where you're seeing someone catch them and you're not, or you have a bad day 1. But like I said, just keep your head in it, keep grinding. You got a game plan, but you're good. Everybody's good. You found it. You figured something out. Obviously, you throw that plan out the window when you get to your first spot on day 1. You're like, they're not here. So, but that's why you practice. That's why you pre-fish, right? That's why you break it down with a group of guys and you go, all right, I got this. But just like you said, water was dirty. It's rising. I know what they do. They move into the weeds, right? I think sometimes you got to just stop and take your lines out of the water, just sit there. I'll do it. Or on the front, I'll just kind of close my eyes and just look around and be like, this is it. This is where you got to go. It may not be a spot you even practice at, but you know of it, or maybe you fished it in the past or whatever. Like, you know what, I forgot to hit that. I bet that's going to go today, or the wind changed.
Yep.
So, but keep your mind in it, stay focused, and win some, you lose some. But like I said, there's always a lesson to be learned when you lose, and there's a lesson to be learned when you win.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep on grinding. The best thing to do is just keep on fishing. Keep on fishing tournaments. You'll get better.
Yep. Fish today, 100%.
Fish today. Yep. I think I don't know, Eric or Matt said that on the last podcast. That was his tip, is just fish today. Just whatever it gives you, go with it. Because it may not be anything like you had all week of practice.
Yep.
That happens more often than not. I'm sure you're like me and all the rest are watching that weather all week and looking at, okay, it's going to blow this way and this way Thursday and Friday. You know, Saturday is those same conditions. So I'm going to try to set up my Saturday like my Thursday, or vice versa, whatever it is. But then you're like, oh, it's got a north wind all week, and then all of a sudden it's south and southwest on Thursday, Friday.
Yeah.
Where they get how's that going to work? How's that's going to set up? Not going to affect them so much on the river as it does like Green Bay or something like that, where that cold water moves. But fish today. Don't let the mind games win. Stay with it and just keep on fishing. Good tips, Will. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. And know you gotta get packed up, and you got a damn busy week ahead. Yeah. So, but it sounds fun. So good luck in it, and good luck. You did a good show last week at the Graha tournament. Would you guys get like 7th or something?
6th in that one.
6?
Yep.
6. That's a hell of a tournament. Is there 100? How many boats are in that thing?
There's 100.
100. They cap it at 100, but it's pretty good. I mean, it's 100 boats. It's 100 sticks, and that's a good tournament every year. It's always full. And you quite the production. I mean, it's a bring the trucks and boats in for the top 10. And it's just a one-dayer?
Yep. One-day shootout.
And what did your 6th place weigh? I mean, there were some big bags.
We had just over 44 pounds for 6th.
Yeah, that's freaking huge.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I've watched this in years. I'm like, whoa, I don't recall seeing this many big fish, but it was like 50-some pounds, wasn't it, right?
51 and a half, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, good God. You don't got to go to the Great Lakes to catch big fish, folks.
No, there's plenty around right under your nose if you just look around. So.
Yep, and Scopin's opened up a lot of new opportunities for finding more of these fish. And but hey, catch, photo, release. They're going back. Somebody else is going to catch them. It's all good. So embrace it. It's where we're at in the world, and it's the technology we're using. And I have definitely embraced it, and it has been fun. And now I can't stop doing it. So, I got to do different things with clients in the boat. But when they get done, or at the end of the day, I'm like, hey, there's a little weed patch over here. You guys want to go try that out? Let me show you some stuff. I'm like, I got to get my fixing, sometime today, before I go back out in the evening and for a couple hours and throw some plastics at them. And, it's fun. It's a good time. So, anywho, all right. Well, good luck at Sakakawea. Good luck this upcoming weekend and both your tournaments. That's going to be fun. I'll keep a watch on it and looking for where you and Hunter land. I'm sure it's going to be near the top. A couple sticks are heading to Lake of the Woods and to Leech Lake on Sunday. Follow these guys. You already know where to follow Hunter on Facebook. Follow Will on his Facebook page, social. He's got some good stuff on there. Stop in at the Tackle Baitwood store. Northern Baitwood? What's the
Northwoods Bait and Tackle.
Northwoods Bait and Tackle. I'm pretty sure I've been through there at least once. It seems like there's a tackle shop about every other corner up there, but there are definitely some better than others. So stop in, get some fishing tips from Will. He'll probably send you in the right direction and certainly sell you the right bait and tackle. I can guarantee you that. So the guy knows what he's doing. And that's it, folks. So stay safe. We'll see you on the water. And thanks for tuning in to this episode of Real Talk Fishing.